Hi there, this is Key, and I'm your host. Welcome to my channel, and welcome to part 2. This is Mentality Business Development, and we are into strategy and attitude. So, join me in part 2, which is about scenarios and how to think to be successful when you analyze and observe. And if you didn't watch part 1, I suggest that you do that because otherwise you'll miss an important part before you're watching this part 2 today. So let's go with part 2. So this is a sketch of markets. If you go to number 1 there at the black circle, you can see the reality, the market situation of today, or I call it today's scenario because it's like a scene. It includes all actors on the market and in the surroundings. It includes people of all different target groups. It includes everything. If you go up to number 2, which is almost in the top of the skis, it shows the future scenario with remaining original actors and of course with new ones, because changes always make way for new innovations, new demand, and new business opportunities. As you can see, there are 2 scenarios up there. One is in light orange and one is in dark orange. I will come back to it and explain. So let's go down to number 3, which is almost in the bottom there, down to the right. These are underlying mental factors, psychological, mindset factors. These are very strong factors. And they are affected by new technique, lifestyles, and many other things that steers decisions and choices that create demand. This affects the actors that we can see in today's scenario, and it will affect them tomorrow too, of course. These factors of mentality very strong, and then mainly they determine where the future scenario will appear and what it will look like. So it can even be these factors that drive and steer the location of the entire future scenario. Very powerful. If you go to number 4, you can see that that's a movement from the black circle up to the dark orange circle. So number 4 belongs to the dark orange circle. This is an ordinary scenario movement, as it can be analyzed with the obvious and visible factors in today's scenario. It's obvious, like obvious material factors and their development, and also lifestyle and mental factors that are known and already identified. What you can see practically. Number 5 is another scenario movement. It's the same scenario, but it moves in another way. It goes from number 3, which is the drivers or the mental factors, up to the light orange scenario. So number 5 belongs to the light orange scenario. So when you identify the drivers in the market, you will also make a better prediction of what the future demand can be and where the hidden potentials will appear. So to do this, you will have to analyze the factors in today's scenario that affects the visible factors, and you have to do that in at least 3 dimensions. So let me clarify that. What you can see in the black circle in today's scenario and what you can analyze that is more obvious, behind every actor or every item that you analyze, there will be something behind their backs. They are affected by something. And those factors, they are often mental factors and can be different types of factors. They, in return, are affected by other factors. And you have to go back at least 2, 3, maybe 4, 3 steps, 3 dimensions to see what is going on here and what is happening. Because then you can predict what is better going to be the drive and what's going to happen in the future scenario, because there could be strong drivers in the behind the backs of what you can see, of the actors that you can see. And as you can see, when you compare 4 and 5 there, two different scenario moves, they end up out of sync in different places. So if you just analyze like they have done in number 4 here, or in my example in number 4, only look at what you can see and try to interpret things that you can see and their behavior, you end up in the dark orange circle. And when you analyze several dimensions behind what you can see, when you analyze what you cannot see, you see a completely different drive that's coming along, and you end up in the light orange circle. So being out of sync in the market in the future puts you in second place. It's a fact that several large multinational companies earlier have failed right here. And as long as they don't start to analyze markets in a different way, this will keep on happening. Those that are good at this, they're always ahead, always ahead. So, because when the world and the markets are changing, the methods that we work with have to change also. And we have to be a step ahead and keep on pushing and pushing to read the markets and read what we cannot see. Because if we don't get this right, everything else will go wrong. What we create up here will affect everything. Tactics, it will be the wrong behaviors that will be analyzed. We'll make operative plans for actions that will give less return on investment, and the list is long and severe. So, important to think about. When you have analyzed all actors, the dimensions behind their backs, and identified the drivers, you need to triangulate to finally be able to produce tactics for what can occur in the scenario of the future that you predict. Triangulation is the hardest part because you need years and years of experience to match factors with each other, identify gaps or potentials when you put factors and actors in relation to each other. You can never learn this fully from a book. You need to combine your studies with the knowledge of someone with the right mindset. That has worked with this for a long time. Then you will learn. Market strategy is one of those very tricky things that you will need a mentor for. It is one of the most exciting areas to get into, and you get better and better with experience. So this picture shows how you can list different potential scenes or outcomes within the scenario. You need to be prepared for this. So it's never the target groups or the market's fault if you fail. It is your own because you were not prepared enough. So each one of those outcomes here that you list need tactics. And each one can contain several things like target groups, hostile competition, collaborative people that you work with or companies you work with, and a lot of things. So this is the end of part 2, and this has just been a little short review of market strategy, which is my favorite subject. And thank you for today. If you liked it, you can hit me up at www.keysyourhost.com. And of course, I want to know what you think. See you later.